Hey everyone. Today I'm going to show you how I edit drums using templates. Here I have a session that I am going to import a template that I have put together using Billy Decker's model. I've been mixing like he has for many years. I saw his video a long time ago at a URM session and I really wanted to emulate that style of mixing because I wanted to mix fast, and I've been mixing like that ever since. And I think that video came out in 2017, so that was 6 years ago. So I've been mixing for about 6 years in the style of Billy Decker. I mean, I tweaked it here and there, but for the most part, it's very similar, almost identical to his template. All right, let's get started. So once I have the session here ready to mix, I'm going to import my template. So this is what I do. I'm going to click on the last track so that the tracks are imported underneath this last track. Then I'm going to hold Shift, Option I, and I'm using a Mac, and I'm using Pro Tools. And then I search for my template, and I've created a template. The latest template I created it just for this session. So as you can see, I have lots of templates that I just keep tweaking and tweaking. And here is the one that has today's date. So I am going to open, and then I do Command A, and I select all the tracks here. And then usually when I open it, it's listed as default, the import, but I don't want to import my main playlist. I just want the skin. I don't want any audio tracks, just the skin. Everything else stays the same. I click OK, and I just wait until it imports all the tracks. All right, once everything is imported, I am going to go ahead and minimize the view. And the way I do that is I go over here to this bar right here. I hold down Alt or Option, click, and then I choose Mini. And as you can see, there are all the tracks that I have. Next, I'm going to select my hand grabber tool. I'm going to make sure that I am in grid mode, and then I'm going to drag them to my template. And I will start first with the kick. So I select the kick. I make sure I hold down Control. The reason I hold down Control is when I slide it or when I bring it down, it won't slide to the side. It stays locked in the grid. And I bring it down to my kick one. That's the name. That's where the template starts. As you can see, I have 3 kick tracks. So I have to duplicate this. So I hold down Control, Option, click and hold, and I drag it down, and then I do it again. And now I have 3 of the identical tracks. Now let's go to snare top. Here's my snare top. I hold down Control, I slide it down. And if you notice, here is my snare sample. So I'm going to now quickly make a copy of that and drag it right there. Now let's go to my snare bottom. And click it there. And then here are my toms. I have 3 toms here: left rack, right rack, and floor tom. But this track only has 2 tom tracks right here. So what I do is I'll click on the first one and I put it in tom 1. But tom 2, I put it in tom 3 because that's my floor. And then this tom 2, I just leave it there. Next hat, my hat is over here. Then I have overhead left and right. So let me find my overheads. They're over here. It's in stereo, but if I drop it, it'll split to mono. See, left and right. Ride in China. This track didn't have any ride in China. And then my stereo room is right here. Click and drag it, and I drop it right there. So now let's remove all of these, all the unwanted tracks. Right click, delete. Okay, then I'm going to go back here, hold on Alt, go back to medium because that's the view that I like. And now my tracks are in my skin. Next, what I do is I do some very quick gain staging, and I eyeball this. So for example, kick, I think should be a little harder, maybe like there. So 4.4. And remember, these are the same exact tracks, so I'll make sure that these go down to 4.4. Okay, my snare could go up a little bit, maybe 2.3. This is my snare bottom. You can bring it up a little bit. Maybe that's too much. Yeah, bring it there. Now this is my snare, so I want to match it to my snare top, so this should be 2.6 also. My tom hit is right there. You see all this bleed that I'll get rid of later. I'll show you how to do that. I'll probably show you how to do that in another video, how I clean my toms. Okay, my hat is good. My overheads is a little hot. And this one is way hot, so I'm going to just try to match it to that one. My rooms can go up a little bit. All right. My left guitar is really low, so let's bump it up. Okay. My bass track, it could go up a little bit. Okay. This one too. As you can see, I don't spend too much time gain staging. I just eyeball it and I go with it. Because the point of all this is to mix fast. This can go up a little bit. This can go up a little bit too. And my bass pad is pretty good. All right, so now I did my gain staging. And let's see how this sounds. So let's play a little bit and then I'll show you what's going on in my template. And let's see how the whole thing sounds. All right. If you like how those drums sound, I'll show you what's underneath the hood. And I'll start over here. Okay, so let's go to kick one. And let's solo that first kick. And I'm going to play it and then see what's going on here. All right, so I'm using, the first sample that I'm using is from Joe Wanasek. I think that's how I pronounce his last name. He's the guy who runs, one of the guys that runs URM. And this is his drum pack. So sounds pretty good. And then I'm just doing a little bit of EQ here. I don't want this video to be too long. So if you can just pause it and kind of look at my settings here. And I'm just going to play it real quick. Let's go to kick two. And I think this kick two is the Billy Decker sample. Yeah, Savage. This is the Billy Decker one. And I'm not doing any processing because it's already processed. And if you notice what I do here also, if you see, I have the attack at 0, the sustain at 0.2, and the release also at 5 seconds. So it's really like a tight short. And then I have the volume bumped up a little bit. And I think that's all I do to it. Listen to it. Let's go to my third kick, and this is my dance kick. And this is, I found this, I forgot where I found it, but if you do a search on it, if you type this out, you should be able to find it. I think it was a free. This is how this sounds. And together, all three, sounds like this. And my kicks, if you notice, the bus, all my shells are going to this drum bus right here. And I'll show you what I'm doing there a little bit. And then all of my cymbals, hat, my overheads, even my room, they're all going straight to the main mix bus, which is right here. And then I'll show you what's going on there in a second. So let's go now to snare top. This is my actual just sound of my snare. And this is how this sounds. All I'm doing is I'm gaining it. And I'm doing a little bit of EQ here. I'm compressing it a tiny bit. And then this is different. This Billy Decker doesn't do this, but I put the distortion at 2. See, it gives it more like a pop, like it cuts through the mix a little bit better. My snare bottom. And now my snare sample. And here I'm using Billy Decker's small town snare. I have here Savage, but I have it muted. I now tend to favor the small town snare. And this is how this sounds. But I'm processing that. And here is the process. Okay. Without. With. All right. Now to the toms. To be honest, the toms is always something that I go back and forth on. By themselves, I'm not too crazy how they sound by themselves, but in the context of the mix, it cuts through and it sounds good enough. Yeah, I'll play you how they sound. I mean, I'm not too crazy about that, but if you hear it in the context of the mix, or first let's do the within all the drums. And then here's the whole song. See, they cut through and it sounds pretty good. Okay, let's see what I'm doing here. Let's solo the rag tom. And here I used to use the Billy Decker's Savage to try to have them all this consistent, but I wasn't too crazy with that one. So I started using this one instead, which is another Joe Wanasek drum pack. Okay. That's how that sounds. And let's see what I have going on here. Okay, I have a gate. Okay, so I have a gate on it. And that's how pretty much, I don't clean my toms anymore. I used to cut at my toms, but now I just use a gate. Since I use samples, I just stick with this. And going back here, if you notice, I used to do what Billy Decker did. He used to do like half mix. But I just decided to just go full. Sometimes, like I said, I go back and forth on this. It depends on the mix, so I may fix that. But for now, I'm going to keep it like that. Okay, what else do I have going on here? I have an EQ. Okay, and this is a drastic EQ. I think this is how Billy Decker has his toms EQ'd also. Okay, without. With. Okay. And then I have an L2 just to give it more volume. As you can see, I already have it maxed at 0. Tom 2, there was no Tom 2 here. And then Tom 3, it's the same thing. But here I'm using, let me see, I'm using the same thing, the mid rack for this. I think the floor tom version was too low. So I think I just used this and then I EQ it. Let me solo that. There. And then I'm running it through a reverb. And this reverb is the same one that Billy Decker uses. All right, so those are all my shells. Let's go to my cymbals, my hat. What am I doing here? Here, I'm just doing a high pass at 600, and I don't do anything to it. So let me see how this sounds. And I do have a pan in the center. Billy Decker does the same thing. Let's go where the hat is. I go back and forth sometimes. I'll pan it hard left, like many engineers do. So I don't know, but I'll keep it there for now. All right, let's go to my overheads. And what I have in my overheads, okay, this is my, I use the CLA overheads too, which I think that's what Billy Decker does. But I also use this. I don't think Billy Decker uses this. I started using Soothe just to smooth it out. I felt that the cymbals always sounded harsh to me. So I use this Soothe plugin, and it's supposed to just smooth them out. It's basically that's what it does. And let's see how the overheads sound by themselves. And I'm high passing at 350. Mm-hmm. And the room, I have the true verb. Okay, and by itself, it sounds like this. So let's see what I'm doing in the drum buses. Okay, first let's look at the plate. And the plate, I'm running the Steven Slade Classic, and I think this is the Brocasti. I think that's what it's called. And I'm using snare plate B. And let's see how it sounds. And I'm running, all I'm doing, I'm sending the snare. I'm not sending the actual, I'm sending the sample rather. I'm not sending the actual snare top and bottom. I'm just sending the snare sample so it can be cleaner. Now let's look at this. And I have what I call a crush bus. And what I'm sending to my crush is just, again, just a snare sample. And this is what I have going on. I have an SSL compressor. I'm hitting it pretty hard. I use the pumping preset, which is over here, pumping. And I'm hitting it about between minus 12 and minus 16 dB. Yeah. Cool. What else am I doing here? Okay, this I think is Billy Decker's. I'm hitting it. I'm giving it, see, almost 4 dB at 8K. And then I'm doing also 200 hertz boost here. And then I have the JST clip at the 3 dots, which is what Billy Decker suggests. And I keep that just like he does. So let me mute this so you can kind of hear it without it and then with. Oh, okay. And now the drum bus. And what do I have going on the drum bus? Okay, I have another compression, but here is I'm using the punch preset, punch. And here I'm only hitting it for about maybe minus 2 or so. Let's see. Yeah, see, minus 1, minus 2. Okay, what else do I have here? Okay, so this is my tape emulation. And I have this is a great plugin. This is Crane Song Phoenix. And I have it at 50% here, and then I just bring down a little bit of the output, and I have it at luminescent. I love this plugin. All right, and then again, JST clip. All right, and that's how I process my drums. Let's finally look at the mix bus and see what I'm doing here. This is what Billy Decker suggests, to cut at 35 and 200. So I'm high passing at 35 hertz and I'm low passing at 20K. And I'm using Pro Q, but you can use stock plugins. Any EQ will work. Then I have the Kramer Pi plugin, and here I'm hitting it at well, let's listen to the whole song and see what it's doing. Yeah, I'm hitting it like minus 1, minus 2. All right. Then I have the Oxford Inflator. This one is doing something, but because I don't hit my drum bus like extremely hard, this one is not doing much, but it is doing something. And just like Billy Decker says, I don't know what it does, it just does. And I'm going to bypass it so you can hear the difference, the before and after. So here it is with. See, so it's giving a little bit of a lift. It's doing something. It's giving a little bit of a lift, and it sounds really cool. And then finally, this is just for when I'm sending my mix out to a client. I just throw in this plugin just so it can sound quote unquote mastered, so the levels can be high. But when I'm ready to send this to my master engineer, I take this plugin out. I remove it. And this is what this is doing. See, it's hitting minus 16. I can probably bump that up a little bit to maybe minus 13. I won't do it here because that means that your volume is going to go up, and I don't want to do that. But usually I want this hitting around minus 13. And then that's it. That's how I use templates when I'm mixing drums and when I'm mixing everything. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you these tracks so you can kind of mess around with them. And I'm also going to give you my template. so you can download. I'll put the links below so you can get all this stuff. And if you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, or I'll leave my email address if you want to shoot me an email if you have any questions. I appreciate you watching this, and take care.